So I am Kate Malone. I'm age 62 and I've been potting since I fell in love with clay when I was 12. Lucie Rie, born in Habsburg, Vienna, in a very privileged family background, went to a very progressive school, an art school, and fell in love with pottery at a young age. As soon as she touched clay on the wheel, it said, she decided that was what she wanted to follow. So she had this very early passion. And she really established herself in Vienna, in Austria, right up to 1938, when the Nazis forced her into exile and her family and all her friends. And they really had to leave with very little, and she came to England. She actually left with pots rolled up in her clothes, these beakers. And so she arrived in England with she was a sort of outsider, really. And she had a modernist concern that wasn't quite grasped in England at the time. She really knew she wanted to pot. She got a license to pot during the war, and decided very early on to stay. In fact, her husband went on to America and they separated. And she, as a sort of independent, strong woman, forged her way. Having to be viable, her life circumstance changed incredibly. She'd from a very rich background with chauffeurs and all sorts of things. She found a little mews house, and she potted and she made buttons to make a living for the fashion industry, and then started making domestic tableware. She really had to be self-sufficient and an independent woman through really the 40s, and in the 50s, in her 50s and in the 50s, she started to get more established and known, and as well as her buttons and tableware, her independent work really got stronger and stronger and stronger. And so with a modernist sort of incredible essential style, sticking to her style against the current actually of style in England, she really forged her way right through to her 90s. I admire Lucie Rie and her work because she stood strong as an independent woman from the start. She had this passion that drove her forward. Against all the odds, really, she really managed to earn a living and express herself. And she makes these modernist pieces that are so pared back. David Attenborough said a great pot is a series of decisions made not to do things. And so everything that she did was so strong and forceful, and at the same time so extraordinarily moving in its essence. She got the clay that speaks to you in the stomach, not in the head. She famously said she's a potter. The things that she does, she makes work. She says she responds to the making, and you feel that at the same time as seeing this incredibly intelligent voice through pottery. Her method was to respond to what she was doing, not to plan. She said famously, she's not a curator, she's a maker, she's a doer, and work makes work. And you can see her work is in series, and I work very much in series. And she said she would respond to what was in front of her. And that I I definitely try to do in that respect. I'll be making a piece with one intention, but then I'll respond to it in a very different way. And she's a great shining light, I think, in that. When I say to students, they say, what are your tips for surviving? I say, it's tenacity, endurance, perseverance, and it's very clear that she really had all those qualities. So I suppose I compare myself in that way. Instead of talking about one piece, I just wanted to talk about her tall bottles, which have a body and a neck and a head almost. They're very corporal. And I'm very much into the fact that every pot has a character, a stance, and it has a belly and a lip and a foot and a shoulder. And really, it's her bottles to me that are this fantastic, tenacious, strong, balanced, delicate. I mean, they're feminine pieces that definitely by a woman, but at the same time, they have this strength that's beyond dividing the sexes. It's just a timeless thing. Lucie Rie's legacy is that she chose to communicate with clay at a really intelligent and powerful level. I think her legacy is that potters should be encouraged to do what they feel and to be strong from their essence and not necessarily be influenced by things around them. And again, I mention whether male or female, she was a woman, the pieces do have a tense fragility, but at the same time they have this incredible strength. So the legacy really is that you can speak and communicate with clay and using the vessel as a language.